What is up, my fish tank guys and girls? I know it's been a few weeks. It's actually been a month or two, maybe closer to a month since I've given you guys an update on the Fluval EVO, and I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. Okay, so I know it's been a while since I've given you guys an update on this tank, and that's just because I've been really busy and work. I've actually gone back to the office now, and I've been doing a lot there with some projects that we've had coming up and some deadlines that I had a deadline at the end of September and another one coming up at the end of October, so I've been really busy with that. So I apologize for not giving you guys an update before now. However, I want to take you guys through the Fluval EVO to show you what's changed, what's good and what's bad. Now, just to start, just to give you guys a brief overview, you'll see that things are looking pretty good. I believe in the last video I had a lot of brown algae. Now I've moved beyond that stage and I've started to see a little bit of cyanobacteria pop up, that purpley algae that you see on the surface of the rocks. Now, a lot of people panic when they first see this, but if you recently set up your aquarium, sometimes this is just a natural stage and progression of what can occur in your tank. Now, I've got really good RODI water with 0 TDS on the meter. I actually just replaced all my filters, so I'm not worried about that. So I'm just gonna kind of let it run its course, and if it hangs on a little bit longer than I'd like it to, then I will start to panic. But right now, I'm not too worried. Now, I haven't done a water change in about 2 weeks, so it's due for one, which I'm hopefully going to get done later today. So all I'm going to be doing is going through, blowing off all the rocks, making sure all that cyanobacteria is up in the water column and gets sucked up by the filter. And then I will be, going through with the gravel vac and cleaning out the sand a little bit. So the good news is that the tank is doing pretty well. I really love sitting here and looking at it when I'm sitting at my desk doing work. And I also love the fact that it's kind of the centerpiece in the lower living room here. This is actually we have a living room in our basement and you can walk right outside from the basement. So I'm really happy that the tank is looking pretty nice. I'm glad that I'm out of the brown algae stage because it's kind of a yucky stage. And since you guys have last seen an update, I added a cleaner crew. The cleaner crew has worked really well. I go through reefcleaners.org. I will leave I think it's .org, I don't know. I'll leave a link in the description below. Reef Cleaners is an excellent website to get a cleaner crew from. They're very reasonable and the owner's super nice and will help you out with, whatever kind of tank you have or whatever kind of issues you are dealing with. So I guess let's start with the bad. The bad is that my blue damsel unfortunately passed away. I'm not really sure why. I will say that he was very skittish. He was very kind of frightened. I don't know if he was being bullied by the black and white striped damsel. I don't think my diamond goby was giving him a hard time, but I noticed that whenever I would approach the tank, the blue damsel would scurry and hide underneath rocks or, in a crevice. And one day I came out and unfortunately I couldn't see him, but then I saw that the cleaner crew was doing their job and they all had a nice dinner that evening, if you know what I'm saying. Nature can be pretty brutal, right? So that is kind of the bad news. I guess the other bad news is that my fathead dendro was opening on a regular basis during the day, which I really enjoyed because it's a beautiful coral. But now it's started opening at night instead. It's like closed during the day and open at night. Now, a lot of folks will immediately point out, okay, that's probably because of the feeding schedule. They get on a routine and then they open when they expect to be fed. And I tend to feed them at the same time every day. I feed them in the early evening, but the lights are all on, right? So I usually will feed them around 8. The lights don't go off until 10 at night. So I'm not sure why it's opening up at night as opposed to the daytime. Hopefully I can get him back on a nice schedule. So I guess the next thing to do is just walk you guys through the tank very briefly, tell you guys what's up with each coral, what the plans are for the tank, and kind of where it's at right now. Okay, so first thing, we're going to start off the back wall. I do have my Green Star polyp frag glued to the back wall. The nice thing about this frag is it's starting to multiply. There are much more polyps that are open and active on this frag, so I'm hoping that it will eventually spread to that back wall. That's something I really wanted to do with an aquarium, and I hope that this, you know, moves in that direction. Next, I've got an interesting coral here. I honestly don't know the name of it. I'm sure someone, you know, watching the video will know what it is, but it's an encrusting coral. It actually will continue to encrust even if it's in shade, which I thought was interesting. So my plan for that is to essentially leave it on that back rock and let it encrust and take over that back rock. And then I'll have a nice little pink carpet of, you know, little tiny polyp flowers on there. Up next, I've got another nice coral here. This is a type of, I believe it's a type of brain coral. It's not an acan. This is really interesting because when the lights are on blue, it's kind of like a green, yellow, purple type coral, which is really cool, something I haven't seen before. As I move across the top here, I've got the Monty, I've got the Fathead Dendro, and I finally found out what the name of this coral is. It is a Blue Ridge coral. It's very cool, but unfortunately, again, with this one, it's tending to open at night rather than during the daytime, which is kind of odd. But I hope that it will eventually come around. Maybe I'll move it a couple times and see where it fits best in the tank. Up next here, you'll see I've got my war coral, my Favia. It's doing okay. It's kind of plagued with the cyanobacteria right now, so it's not thriving. But I hope once that cyanobacteria passes and I get the tank kind of cleaned up of that, it will start to thrive once again. And last but not least, you'll see I have my pulsing Xenia. I believe this has grown since the last time you guys saw it. Once again, this can be a nuisance coral, so that's why I have it on its own little island up front here in the tank. I'm hoping that it will spread and kind of cover that entire piece of rock, and that will be a nice little neat, you know, pulsing Xenia showpiece. The whole thing will be those flowers that are kind of opening and closing in the flow of the aquarium. So other than that, things are going pretty good. The Diamond Goby keeps the sand fairly clean, but he also keeps the tank kind of a mess as he sifts the sand, sifts through the sand, I should say. There's always like floaties in the water column, even though I have multiple layers of filter floss in my filter. So he's kind of a pain in the butt, but he's also really entertaining and interesting to watch. I'm going to do a separate video on the Diamond Goby because he's a very difficult fish to keep. I'll explain to you guys why. Even with this tank, he's a difficult fish to keep. So for those of you who know what I'm talking about, you might be wondering how with this tank is he difficult to keep. Well, I'll explain that in a future video. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys sticking with me. Sorry I've been so delayed on the videos lately. I hope to get back to a weekly rhythm of posting one video a week. And I actually hope to record a podcast soon with a new mic that I got. It's been over a year since I've done a podcast, which is insane. So yeah, if you guys have any comments or opinions or any feedback, any suggestions about the tank, I would really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you guys so much for watching. What is wrong with me? Thank you guys so much for watching. I almost said it again. And checking out the other videos on my channel. If you have not yet done so, please subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Hit the notification bell so you know when I have new videos out. They're pretty sporadic, so you won't get spammed with notifications. Yeah, so hey, if you ever want to reach out to me, feel free on my Twitter or Instagram or in the comments or whatever. I've been giving some people some advice lately on what to do with their aquariums, and that's been really nice. I've been happy to see some people getting started in the saltwater hobby, and that's one of the reasons why I started this channel, to let other people know that it's definitely doable. It's not an impossible task. So as I continue to ramble on and on, I'm going to stop now and just say until a future Fish Tank Guy video, I will see you guys soon.